Hi, Nathan here. Welcome to the Game Pass review series. We'll now be going through Game Pass library, selecting a game, playing it, and then reviewing it. If you have any suggestions what game I should play next for my next Game Pass review, please let me know in the comments below. With that being said, this is my review of Untitled Goose. This is my review of Untitled Goose Game. Hey, that's mine. Get off my review. Hey! Untitled Goose Game drops you right into the game, starting with a simple and very short tutorial of only 5 commands: honk, duck, flap, grab and sprint. With little to learn, it's these linear actions that are the only tools you have and need to progress throughout the whole game. It's from this point the player is left to explore the world without any reason as to why. This game doesn't really have a true story like you would expect from other games, but that's not to say there isn't any stories to be told by the end credits. This goose isn't just any ordinary goose. He's very mischievous and causes misfortune to the citizens of the world. Weirdly enough, it's this alone that intrigues the player to make them want to know what's next in store. The graphics in this game can be compared to a Saturday morning kids cartoon, with light, gentle, cel-shaded style that helps set the tone. The overall sense is relaxing, making the player feel at ease. This gives the game a unique look and its own identity. Little touches like opting not to put detailed faces to the human folk help bring more character to a purposely simple looking goose. In terms of characters, there isn't many. Solely relying on the nameless goose, there isn't any supporting characters to be found. The game has great animations and doing simple tasks that bring great sense of humour, and that's the biggest strength of Untitled Goose Game. It's hilarious humour and lovable naughty goose that carries his title to high expectations. To say the main protagonist is rememberable is an understatement. I'm fully expecting memes and gifs of this goose for years to come. The music beautifully comes from piano only. A lot of the time no music is played during your playthrough, instead only having the music kicking in at key parts. Being chased or even sneaking, the piano does a fantastic job at creating the right atmosphere, making you as a player feel the urge to panic and run away, or even feeling anxious not to be seen. The sounds of the infamous honk is made more prominent by peaceful and quiet scenes that helped it become so iconic today. You'll find yourself struggling to get the sound out of your head days after completing the game. It really is a love-hate relationship. Untitled Goose Game has a total of 5 areas that put you in distinct scenarios. This makes it fair enough that no 2 sections feel the same. The game begins with you, the goose, wreaking havoc on an old man's allotment, then roam the local stores shoplifting before causing friction between 2 neighbours. Goose then goes on to grab pints in the beer garden to stamp over a model village. Each of these areas feels small in size, but you have enough trouble to cause in the first 4 to keep you busy. Unfortunately, the same cannot be said for the model village, which I found very underwhelming as a final act. Progressing through the areas flows seamlessly because once one area is complete, a pathway will be revealed for the goose to move on. Any areas you complete will grant you a shortcut from the well, which acts as a hub that links all 5 areas together. This helps you travel the road a lot faster. All in all, when stripped down, Untitled Goose Game is a puzzle game, with players having to figure out how to complete a set of predetermined tasks. These tasks are fairly vague and the game does not give any hints as to how they can be done, leaving the player to use their own thoughts and creativity to try and discover the solution. The previously mentioned tasks are presented to the player in the form of a to-do list. Each area has its own list to complete. Completing the initial area list unlocks the last task, and it is pulling off this final task that reveals the path for progression to the next area. There are a number of different puzzles for the player to solve, For example, collecting numerous items where you have to find specific objects and stealthily take them back to the designated area, because if you're caught, the humans will take back the items. Some puzzles require the goose to manipulate the humans in order to disrupt the usual NPC routine and get them to do something named on the list, such as taking a toy plane that a boy regularly goes to play with and placing it in the shop so he is forced to buy back his own toy from a stubborn old lady. There are also numerous ways for a task to be completed. As you can see here, a task asks you to get into the pub, but there's a burly old man stopping you. For this particular task, you can either sneak in through a box that a delivery lady will carry through to the beer garden, or you can untie the man's shoelaces so he trips as he's trying to chase you away, allowing you to run past. It is these kind of puzzles that give the game its unique charm. Figuring out how to do the puzzles is only part of the game, and seeing the results of the mischief you have caused is half the fun. I would often find myself gloating at the trouble I've caused via flapping rings and honking, not because I had to, but because I wanted to. That's how immersive it feels to be this goose. It took me around 3 hours to complete the story, which is a big shame. It still felt like the game had a lot left to give. As you get towards the end, the challenges get a lot harder to complete, and this is when the game really starts to test your skills. Unfortunately, that's also when the game stops and the credits roll. Now, there is replay value with extra to-do lists, with some tasks are timed and some need you to run between 2 different areas to solve the puzzle. This is when you need to take advantage of all the shortcuts you now have access to through the Road Hub. As nice as these more difficult to-do lists are, it still doesn't add too much playtime, taking another around 2 to 3 hours to complete everything. Overall, Goose Game is far too short by any standards. There's a lot of fun to be had with Untitled Goose Game, with great humour, funny moments and some clever puzzles. However, it's hard for me to recommend a purchase for this game, with the story being so short and little to add replay value. Hey! Leave my score alone! I was going to say, if you want Game Pass, it's a perfect game to pick up and try. I would definitely recommend that. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving our channel a subscribe. Or why not check out our other videos when I review Streets of Rage 4 as a Game Pass review. With that being said, see you in the next video. GG's.